What is up, my book besties? This is a long overdue video we're about to go through. This is my wrap up from August, September, and October. Yes, I got that far behind. August I recorded and then accidentally deleted it because I was running out of battery. I went to change it, deleted ones that didn't need to be in there, and accidentally deleted that one. So I have to redo, was gonna have to redo August, went on vacation in October, didn't get a chance to finish up September's before I left, and now here we are in November, needing to still do those three. So we're gonna run through all of them. Give me one moment to get them in order here. I have them in order. I'm gonna run through these, and I do have physical copies for 11 of these books. Some I listened on audio, some were Kindle, so 11 of them I have physicals, but I am rearranging my bookshelf right now. It is a huge mess. I have a few, but see, I've started taking stuff off, and those are not my only ones. I have some in my front room as well, and I'm just redoing everything because we moved stuff to put the tree. So searching for these is going to be difficult. So I'm just going to go ahead and throw them up here for you guys as we go through them. Now, the first one that we're going to talk about, I actually finished it at the end of July. I put it in my thumbnail for July and forgot to talk about it. I mentioned it at the very end, just by my thank you for watching area. So we'll go ahead and talk about it. And that was Flock by Kate Stewart. Now Flock, I didn't even realize it was a Robin Hood retelling, so I'm excited. I was excited about that. Now I will say, I gave Flock 3 stars. This is why. Okay, I was very confused, to be honest. I've heard how wonderful the series is. I was very confused reading it because they do a lot of back and forth. There were some things going on that I don't even know how we got there. I wasn't sure what was happening. But I have heard that you have to read the entire series and that it's so amazing, and I just need to get through books 2 and 3 and it'll all come together and I will understand. So I do plan to continue the series because I want to know what all the fuss has been about, and if I have to just continue it to understand, I will continue it. That was from July. I just forgot to talk about it. So I said I would talk more in detail, but I'm going to run through these just because I have so many. Trust me, these books will come up again because it is going to be December, and I'll be talking about favorites of the year, and we'll go back through some things. So I will talk deeper about the ones I really love. First one from October was The Fine Print by Lauren Asher. This is book 1 in the Dreamland Billionaire series. I really enjoyed this. Okay, this book, it's about, well, so the Dreamland Billionaires are 3 brothers. Okay, each book is about one of the brothers. Book 1, I'm trying to remember, let me take a look because I can't remember who book 1 was about. Rowan and Zara, they're book 1. So Rowan is one of the grandsons. His grandfather tells him basically, I believe their grandfather has passed. I read this one a little bit ago, but I think their grandfather passed. And in order for them to get their inheritance, each brother has to do a task. Well, Rowan's task had to do with Dreamland, which is the amusement park that they have, and Zara, she's an employee there, and she kind of helps him master through this. So I don't want to say too much, I don't want to give it away, but I did 4-star this one. It was very good. Next was Hawk by Jessie Hall. I fell in love with this character. This was a 5-star for me. Absolutely loved Hawk. This followed Cameron Hawk. He gets out of prison after being there for, I believe, 10 years, and he ends up going to live with his friend Patrick. So Nicole and Patrick are living together. Hawk comes to live with them. He's different for her, okay? Patrick's like her safe choice. She's a good girl. She's an author. And Hawk comes in, and he's a drinker. He has girls in and out, and she cannot stand it until she wants to be standing more, if you know what I mean. So Hawk was just one of those characters that I could read over and over. I loved him. So that was a 5-star for me. And then I read A Twisted Love Story by Samantha Downing. This was a book club read with the book troupe, and that's over on Gabby Reed's page. This one was about a couple who have a super toxic relationship, and they're always doing things to get, I mean, when I say super toxic, they call the police on each other and they're in trouble, and well, something goes down and they kind of have to have each other's back, and they're a little, it's, you know, crazy lovers, but it was enjoyable. This one I gave 4 stars. I listened to it on audio. It was a good audio. I did really enjoy this one. Next, I read Her Soul to Take by Harley LaRue. This was a book club read for the Gremlins After Dark Discord. So Her Soul to Take, I really enjoyed as well. I listened to this one on audio. I will say, so I gave this one 4 stars, and I will say I do want to read it again, but on paperback, because I don't know, am I the only one here? I can listen to an audio and love it. I can listen to it and hate it, but it is a completely different experience than if I have the book in front of me and reading. I have read audios that I don't care for, but then I sit down and read the book and I love it that much more. And I think it's just because when I'm reading physically, I can have my own imagination of how they sound, how they look, and I'm paying more attention because I'm staring at it. When I'm listening to an audio, sometimes I am working or I'm cleaning up or doing things, and so I'm hearing the story, but I'm not hearing every single word, and I think some things get a little lost in translation that way. So I really enjoyed this book, but when I just kept thinking about it and some of the quotes and things from it, I'm like, I feel like I could have enjoyed this more, but it was still good. I still gave it 4 stars. I do plan to finish the series, but before I finish the series, I want to reread book 1 physically, just to see, to get a better experience out of it. The next one that I read was The Housemaid's Secret by Frida McFadden. This is book 2 to The Housemaid. 5-star easy, super easy read. I can read one of these in one sitting. I love Frida McFadden and her thrillers. I cannot get enough. I have a few physical copies of her books that I haven't gotten to, that I plan to get to before the end of the year. The next one I read was Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. This is a hockey romance. It is, the male character plays hockey. The female character is a figure skater. This is book 1 to the Maple Hills series. Wildfire recently came out. Haven't got to it yet, but I will. Really enjoyed this one. Okay, this was a 4-star for me. Really liked that one. The next one, not as enjoyable. It was The Last Word by Taylor Adams, and I gave this 2 stars. For me, it just kind of dragged on. I didn't find too many interesting things in it. I could not get into it. And I read No Exit by Taylor Adams earlier this year, and I absolutely loved that one. But The Last Word just didn't do it for me. The next 2 I read were both audios through Amazon. It's Audible. They're Audible originals, and these were graphic novels. My first graphic novels. If you haven't, graphic audio, sorry. If you haven't read a graphic or listened to a graphic audio, basically it's like watching TV. You hear, like, if they're walking, you hear their footsteps. If they're leaving somewhere, you hear the door shut. It's kind of like listening to the TV. And there are some fantasy books that are graphic audio. I recently discovered that the ACOTAR series is graphic audio. So if you're interested in that, it's like an immersion, and I loved these. The first one was The Wedding Proposal by John Swasinger. This book was about a girl who her boyfriend proposes, they're going to get married. And then one day, like before they get married, he decides she just may not be the one. So she's going to gift her wedding to somebody. So she goes looking for a couple to gift and ends up finding someone and planning this wedding with the bride's brother, because the bride and groom were going out of town for some reason. So most of the book is about her and the bride's brother and their interaction, trying to get the wedding ready for this new bride. Super cute, super quick listen to. I think it was like 4 hours. And then a similar one, it was Love at First Sight. This was by Cara Bastone and Santino Fontana. This one is about some psychology students that are trying to find out if love at first sight is what other couples' perspectives are of love at first sight, and if they think it's real. So they go and interview different couples, and some of these couples are still married, some are divorced, some are newly dating, and they just kind of get their feedback on love at first sight. They have like questions they ask them, and it's super cute. I loved that. Next, I read Does It Hurt by H.D. Carlton. I was a little disappointed, to be honest, and I know, please don't come for me, my book people. I gave this 2 stars, okay? Haunting and Hunting Adeline were some of my top reads of the year, and Satan's Affair that went along with it. Love H.D. Carlton. Loved Haunting and Hunting Adeline. Does it hurt? Just, it hurts me to say that it does hurt me because I didn't really enjoy it. However, like I said with the last one, I listened on audio. I don't know if I would have felt any different actually reading it, but this is where I didn't really love it. I had heard there was a shark scene in here, which I was excited to read about. It just kind of fell a little short for me, unfortunately. And then it kind of turned into a thriller of sorts, and there was too much going on for me. It wasn't as enjoyable as the other two. It wasn't terrible, but it just wasn't, I just didn't enjoy it too much. Not gonna stop me though, because I love H.D. Carlton. I want to read everything by her. I still have to read Shallow River, and like I said, the first 3 books I read by her were all 5 stars. This one personally just wasn't for me. Next, I read Ice Planet Barbarians by Ruby Dixon. This is an alien romance. It had some like Avatar vibes because I believe the aliens are blue. This was a 4-star. It was just a fun read. It was funny. It made me laugh. It was smutty, but just the story itself, it was just fun to listen to, very lighthearted, and I really loved it. I think there's, if I'm not mistaken, there's like over 20 books in this series, so don't know when I'll get to that, but I probably will slowly continue because I did really enjoy the first one. Next was another Frida McFadden, and it was The Coworker. I did get that one as an ARC read, and so, and I did physically read this one. Well, I read it on my Kindle, but, loved this one. Another 5-star. I have not read a Frida McFadden that has not been a 5-star. She is another one that has another book coming out in 2024. It's called The Teacher. I can't wait, just because I love her book so much. But The Coworker, it mainly takes place in an office setting. There's a new coworker that comes in, and one of the girls kind of treats her a little crappy. I don't really know why. She's just kind of like a mean girl, and she treats her crappy. And then she doesn't come into work one day, which is not like her. She's a very like punctual, always at work, on time girl. And it turns out that she's missing. And so this is like a thriller about this missing coworker. Then I'm going to slowly go through these. I read Lore Olympus. I read it on Webtoons, but I do have the hardbacks as well. This is like an animated graphic novel of sorts that is about Greek mythology, but in a modern telling of it. So volume 4, 5, and 6, the way that it shows hardback wise, I have gotten through. If you read it on Webtoons, it's actually up to date further than the hardbacks that have come out, so I've actually gone further. It's just not available to show here, so once I get to that, I just kind of threw those on because I did read them, but the order that they are in hardback is different from where I read it on Webtoons, so that's why it's kind of odd how I went through this. So I'll just put 4, 5, and 6 up here, but I'm actually further. It's just not available in hardback yet. Next, finally, I got to A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. This is a fantasy book, and it follows Feyre. She's kind of the head of her family. They're a little poor. She's with her dad and 2 sisters, and one day she goes out to get, she's like out hunting for food and thinks that she sees this big wolf of sorts, and it turns out to be Fae, and it just tumbles from there. I am currently on book 3, and I think book 2 is one of the next ones I read, so we'll just talk about both. The second one is A Court of Mist and Fury. Court of Thorns and Roses I gave 5 stars to. A Court of Mist and Fury I gave 4. That was book 2. It is just a little slower for me than the first one, but they're both like really good. I am currently on A Court of Wings and Ruin. I've kind of paused it because Iron Flame came out, and I'm reading Iron Flame, but I will finish that this month, and I'm hoping to finish the whole ACOTAR, well, books 1 through 5, because there are a 6 and 7, I believe, coming out, so I plan to catch all the way up before the end of this year to start some of her other series for 2024. But this is about Fae. not just Feyre, the main character I was saying, but this is a Fae story. And I just love it. Love it. Love the characters. Love Rhys. Like, if you guys have read it, Rhys and perfection. Okay. So this one I really, really loved. Next, another 5-star and probably one of my top ones of the year was Sick Fucks by Tilly Cole. This is a very, very loosely Alice in Wonderland based story. Alice in Wonderland is just referenced many times in there. But this book was just the darkest one I've ever read. I will say that, probably one of the darkest. And I don't mean like dark romance wise or like stalker. I mean dark, okay? It has very dark themes. Make sure you check trigger warnings before you read it. There are some heavy themes in there, but the story, okay? Once you get past that and you see what it's about, it's a story of love and revenge, and it is so good. I devoured this. Didn't want to stop reading it. Still thinking about it. Still recommending it. One of my top reads because, like I said, I'm still thinking about it. I loved this so much. That was Sick Fucks by Tilly Cole. Next, I read The Dare by Harley LaRue. This was a little novella. It is a prequel to Losers Part 1 and 2, which I plan to get to, if not this year, very early in 2024. This is the story of a girl. Her and her boyfriend used to bully these 4 boys in high school. Well, she had some kind of short fling with one of the boys, and she didn't want her boyfriend to know, obviously, so she would make fun of him with her boyfriend to kind of cover it. Well, her boyfriend and his friends decide to go do something to them one day. She warns him, and I believe he pulls out some weapon or something where people were kind of scared of him. Fast forward, it is now college, okay? And they're at a college party playing beer pong. And they put a dare on the game. You know, whoever wins gets to give the other one a dare they have to do. So he wins. He dares her to be his slave for the night. And it goes from there. I will say, it is not just about her and this boy, okay? He has 3 other friends she used to bully, and they all want revenge. So this was a great setup for the losers, and I can't wait to get into that one. Next, we have Glitch by Brianna Michaels. 4-star read. Loved this story, okay? This is about a boy. They call him Glitch, because he gets nervous sometimes and is kind of glitchy when he talks, which I thought was super cute. And he's a computer programmer, or video game, like he's into video games, computers, things like that. And I believe that he runs a shop or owns a shop, and he runs into this girl. She's an artist, and he plays video games online with her, okay? He has this huge crush on her. He's never met her in person, just kind of like through gaming. And she mentions that her laptop is broken, and he tells her to bring it to his shop so he can take a look, and it just goes from there. But there are 2 other books in the series. There is Flip and, let me see what the other one is. Glitch is number 1, then there's Flip and Click. Flip is number 2, Click is number 3, and this is called the Next Level series. I do know one of the books is about his sister. I'm not really entirely sure what the 3rd one is about. But it was super cute, and I will definitely read some more. I also really loved the covers, and what got me to want to read this book was what the top of the cover says, and it says, "The only thing dirtier than her mind is his mouth." Okay, this definitely had some, you know, sexy scenes in it. Great story though. Another unpopular opinion, please don't come for me, but I read the first 2 books in the Mindfuck series by St. Abbey. I do have the full like omnibus that has all 5 stories in it. I only read the first 2, and I 2-starred, I think both, yeah, I 2-starred both of them. It was The Risk and Sidetrack. I don't get the hype, to be honest. I was very excited about this book. Thought I would go right through it. I have heard great things, but I got bored very quickly. gave it a chance, decided to go ahead and go to number 2 just in case it picks up later. I was still quite bored and couldn't get into it, so this one I will probably not continue. Just wasn't for me, but I did read the first 2 books in the series, and that's very hard for me to say. I am not a DNFer, and I'm not DNFing because since they're separate, I did completely read book 1 and 2, but I will probably not continue the series and read the next 3 because it just wasn't super enjoyable for me, unfortunately. I was disappointed because I really thought I'd love it. The next one was A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. I gave this one 3 stars, maybe another unpopular opinion. I'm not sure how popular this one was. But I just wasn't super into it, but it was okay. Like, I flowed through it. I was reading it. Some parts I enjoyed, some I didn't. But overall, I wasn't like super into it, and I don't know that I will continue that one either. Next, I read book 2 in the Dreamland Billionaires series, which was Terms and Conditions by Lauren Asher. This one I gave a 3-star. I did like it, but I didn't love it as much as the fine print. I will be finishing the trilogy. I think it's just a trilogy. And the last one is called The Final Offer. Is it The Final Offer? Yes, The Final Offer. I will be finishing that one before the end of the year is my hope to finish. But book 2, it was about another brother. And we said the first one was Rowan and Zara. Book 2 is Declan. And the girl, let me see, I don't even remember. Iris. Okay, so Iris works for Declan, and she comes up with like different things for Dreamland, like as far as the rides. She's more like a technical engineering type person. And his task, because as I said before, they're tasked by their grandfather to do something before they can get their inheritance, his was to get married and have a child, I think by a certain age. And so Iris kind of has this idea to do this as like a fake, it's like a fake dating deal, to fake marry him for his inheritance, and it somehow benefited her as well. I honestly don't remember how it benefited her because, like I said, I liked this one, but it wasn't like a, oh my god, it stuck in my mind thing. I do remember the story. I didn't read it that long ago. It just wasn't higher than a 3 for me. I have heard that a lot of people really liked Terms and Conditions more than the fine print. That just wasn't the case for me. I really love fine print. I have heard some people say Final Offer was the best one, so I'm really looking forward to reading the Final Offer. Moving on, my next read was Good Bad Girl by Alice Feeney. This was for the Book Troops book club, their monthly pick. This one was a 2-star for me. Again, unfortunately, the month of October was not good, okay, because we are into my October reads now. I had a lot of 2- and 3-star reads, whereas August and September I had a lot of 4 and 5s. But Good Bad Girl for me, it kind of dragged. I couldn't really get into it. The story got a little confusing at part. There was a lot that went on back and forth. I've heard good things about Alice Feeney. This was my first Alice Feeney. I do have Rock, Paper, Scissors on my list. I just hadn't got to it. So I was disappointed with the first one. But I did feel better to know that a lot of Alice Feeney lovers who said that his and hers and Rock, Paper, Scissors were excellent also did not really enjoy this one. So that gives me hopes that I could still really enjoy the ones that I was looking forward to reading. But I got to this one first because it was part of the book club reads. But I gave that one 2 stars. Not very enjoyable. Next, I finally started the Twisted series by Anna Huang. I read books 1, just 1. I did get to book 2, but that is for November, so I'll get to that. So, I got to book 1, and it was Twisted Love. I gave this one 3 stars. I liked it. I didn't think it was just a knockout of the park for me, but I did enjoy it. I was really into it until probably about halfway through I started to get it felt like it dragged a little bit for me. But that was a 3-star for me. I did really like it. I know each book follows a set of friends. And so book 1 was just okay. It was a brother's best friend. And I really, like I said, I was really into it until probably about midpoint. And then it just kind of dragged a little bit for me. 3rd act breakups. It was just kind of like, okay, but I said, it was still enjoyable. I'm still glad I read it. I will finish the entire series, so that did not stop me. Then we've got one more. My last one that I read was The Woman in Me by Britney Spears. Okay, this was not a planned read. This book came out and I kept hearing about all the tea that Britney was spilling, everything that was going on. And I just was getting some FOMO. Okay, I wanted to know what was happening. And I was curious with her conservatorship and everything that was going on. I was curious about that. So I picked this one up. It was a 5-star. Okay, first of all, I read this in one day. Okay, one sitting. It was heartbreaking to me, very eye-opening. I'm not a huge Britney Spears fan, but obviously I know who Britney Spears is. I've listened to her music. I just did not know what was going on with her. You know, when you see her in the media, you see a lot of things that make it seem like she just like went out of her mind. But this book was very eye-opening. It talks about her relationships, her romantic relationships, the relationship with her dad, her family, the way they treated her, the way the media portrayed things to be, to come out a way that they weren't. And then I kept seeing people talking about hating on Justin Timberlake after her book, which is the main reason I wanted to read it, because what did JT do, okay? JT did wrong. He did. He was young and he made some dumb decisions, but they were still really wrong, dumb decisions that really impacted this woman. And as a woman, I felt for her, you know, I felt really horrible for her. And she is a strong person to continue to come out on top and do all her shows and work as she did after the way she was treated. And not only did he do this very unspeakable thing to her, but then he left her right after, okay? I plan on doing probably a little more of a talk on that on my TikTok, where I can talk a little more freely about what happened. So if you have not read it and you're curious, check that out in a few days. I'm gonna start getting better about putting more book reviews up, probably more on TikTok because I can quickly get through them. But the ones that are really impactful to me, I will do more here, but I'm going to try to do one for every read there. So if you're curious as to getting a more in-depth and book review of every read that I do, make sure to go to my bio and follow me on TikTok. I will also post the link down below, and I will be doing more of that there. However, I will still do my wrap-ups here. They're just not as in-depth because I go through so many at once. I plan to do more book reviews there as I finish them, and maybe even check in as I'm reading books and just talk about where I'm at when they're real exciting. Just know that there will be spoilers in that one, okay? I try not to do spoilers here unless I'm doing a full book review video, which I've done a couple. But I probably will do more spoilers there, so you kind of have a choice of which one you want to go with. So, but that was the last book, so we've finally gotten through August, September, and October for the wrap-ups, and now I can be more on track with it. I got off track, but hopefully I don't do that again, so we don't have so much to get through. But I hope you enjoyed that video. I'm so sorry it was so long, and I'm really looking forward to the upcoming Bookmas vlogs that I'll be doing during the month of December. So if you have not watched the video yet about where I talk about that and the giveaways and the way they're going to work, make sure to check that out because giveaways are a-coming for December and I don't want anyone to miss out. So hit the notification bell, check out that video, and I will see you guys in the next video.